Greetings and welcome to the April Founders Zoom. We're glad that you can join us today. Of course, David and I, as always, here hosting. If you're new to ACTIVZ, welcome. David and I do this Zoom once a month on the 15th of every month. And the purpose of this is to really talk about some of the highlights from the previous month, some things that stand out to us, and so a few things that we're excited about, not only in the remainder of the month, but also we want to give you an idea of what's around the corner. So, and for all of you who have been with us for some time now, welcome. It's great to see you here today. And let's go ahead and get started. You know, March was, first of all, it is hard to believe, and I say this month after month, David, I think you do too. We have to pinch ourselves. It's hard to believe that we're in the middle of April. I mean, it seems like we're still in the dead of winter. We should be in January or maybe beginning of February, but here we are in the middle of February. The seasons are changing quickly. It's definitely spring out where I am in California. In fact, some days it feels like a little bit like summer. Time is just moving right along, and here at ACTIVZ, time is we are cranking and things are great. We wouldn't want to be anywhere else but with all of you here at ACTIVZ. Last month was a pretty exciting month, in the month of March, right? Not only from a growth perspective, but we had some really fun things that we did that I want to talk to you about here in just a minute. I mean, one of which I did something new, and I say that because sometimes I feel like year after year, it's a little bit like Groundhog's Day. I do many of the same things year after year and don't do a lot of new things. But last month I did something new with a bunch of distributors here at ACTIVZ, and that I'd never done ever. I have seen a lot of videos, so we did a sort of a personal development course. I'm not sure what they're called officially, but it's a course where it helps you kind of face your fears and overcome challenges. And so I want to share with all of you some of the things that I learned from that experience here in just a minute. But before I do that, David Brown, you're with us today. David, welcome. Hello. Good to see you. And what are some things that stand out to you?
Welcome, Ryan. Well, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And so maybe I'm too old to get involved in personal development, but I'm really looking forward to hearing about what you've accomplished there. So that's awesome. And you've told me a little bit about that. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. You know, March was an interesting month. Kind of like the weather, it came in like a lamb and went out like a lion because, you know, often in the year, it seems that January and February are months that businesses, and certainly we're no different than that, that people kind of spend time recovering from the holidays, and then are kind of in the thick of winter, and it's kind of hard to get the juices flowing. And March seems to be that time when not only nature starts stirring again and things start coming back to life, but people and businesses do too. And I think that's true at ACTIVZ, that started in the early days of March and just continued on. And we had a great March overall, and especially the finish was great. Some new things occurred that were kind of fun. We started, well, I guess maybe it initially started in February, but just recently we've started shipping product into Bolivia. I think some people are aware of, and we've had some really interesting leaders join the company. Some in particular that were actually had been very successful at other companies, as you know, Ryan, and were looking around and being highly recruited by other companies. And once they heard about ACTIVZ, they stopped looking. And that was awesome because they not only were very impressed by the products, but also because they're real business leaders and business builders, they looked at the compensation plan and realized that it really is unparalleled in many respects, certainly from what they were used to. And so that's pretty exciting. And so all of those things kind of combine together to, as we go into these spring months, which are often some of the strongest months that companies like ours have, that really we have a good footing. You mentioned that that the weather's changing. It certainly is here. We had some nice warm days in Utah, and then we got a couple inches of snow in the past few days. So you never know what's going to happen. And I guess that kind of is actually a good metaphor for ACTIVZ itself. There's always something, just stick around because there's always going to be something new to talk about. So those are some of the things that are top of the mind for me.
Yeah, that's great. David, you talked about the end of March. The end of March was a great, strong close, and sometimes we scratch our heads. We say, why wasn't it a great beginning? And sometimes we do have incredible starts of the month, but we can usually count on a month being really strong. People kind of buckling down and digging deep, and whatever other metaphor we want to use for it, and really push to get their goals. And I did want to give a shout out right now, just at the top of this founders call, for people who went above and beyond. Now, a lot of folks really, a lot of leaders really did some extraordinary things at the end of March, and it's worth mentioning right now. Granted, we're in the middle of April, but I did want to give them a shout out. We had some of our leaders, ACTIVZ and above, sort of rally all around the concept of momentum, right? I had a conversation with some of them, not all of them, when I was in Monterrey, Mexico, and ACTIVZ Academy, and I would say 80%. Most of the Spanish speakers were down there, and then we talked to the English speakers afterwards about it. We talked about how important momentum is, right? Momentum is something that once you have it, it just helps. It's like a car moving. It's inertia, right? The momentum that you start in the beginning, it helps propel whatever the object is forward, right? And it becomes easier and easier and easier to keep moving. And so momentum, and when we talk about growth in the direct selling space, in ACTIVZ and in network marketing, momentum is an important tool, right? It's an important power to harness. And so creating momentum is just so important, because many of the people that I've known over the years, David, that reach the highest heights in a company, they get there because they benefit from a period of time where their organization goes through momentum, not necessarily the entire time that they're building, but a period of time. It could be a few years. It could even be a handful of months that this happens. And so I shared this concept with some of the distributor leaders that I was with in Monterrey, Mexico. And we started to talk about what can we do to build momentum, to create momentum. And we talked about, okay, as ACTIVZ and above, right, if you have that leadership part of your title, right, an A10 leader or above, let's set a goal to grow starting last month by 40%. And we said, okay, if you grow by 40%, we're going to give you something. If you grow by 30%, we're going to give you something. And so most of them rallied. I don't want to say that universally everyone said, yes, we're going to do it, but most of the people did it. And the reason why I say that is because they only had 4 days remaining in the month where they accepted the challenge, right? We didn't give them the whole month. But that said, even with 4 days remaining in the month, it was pretty remarkable to see what some of them did. And so I'm just going to go ahead and recognize those who grew by at least 30% with only 4 days remaining in the month. And the first person who kind of reached the goal didn't grow by 30%. He didn't grow by 40%. He grew by a whopping 95% month over month. That's March over February. And that was Luis Martinez out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So congratulations, Luis. That's quite an accomplishment.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It really is. Nancy Aniles, also out of Las Vegas, grew by 75%. Claudia Valdez out of Elk Grove, California, grew by 63, almost 64% month over month. And Rosalva Ramos grew by 45, just about 46% month over month. Pedro, and those, I think most of you on this call know, they're all out of the United States, who are our highest 4 people who grew in the entire company were here in the United States. Then we had Pedro Palacios, who's a good friend of the company's, who lives in northern Mexico. He grew by 44%, and Arturo Aragon, who also lives in northern Mexico, grew by 44%. So congratulations to all of them. Close second places, and I'll say by second, I mean they grew by at least 30%. Eric Maldonado, also out of the United States in Albuquerque, New Mexico, grew by 38%. Congratulations to Eric. And then Carla Lopez out of Mexico City grew by 21%. Grew by 37%. 37%. Claudina Brenneman out of Rockland, California, another US-based leader, grew by 36%. And Denise de la Fuente grew by 35%. And so why am I making such a big deal out of this? Because it's all about momentum, guys, right? March was really the month to kick it into gear. This month in April, we're seeing the fruits of that momentum. We're seeing a lot of that acceleration speed carry over into April. And I wanted to really take my hat off and congratulate those leaders who accepted the challenge, with 4 days remaining in the month. I did want to switch gears, though. I've mentioned a couple of times here that we had an ACTIVZ Academy which was the end of March, and for me this was the highlight, David. It was really the highlight. If I look back the last couple of weeks, what was a highlight for me in the ACTIVZ universe, and it was the town is Monterrey, Mexico, but it's actually, we weren't in Monterrey. It's surrounded by mountains. There's a mountain that's 7,000 feet in elevation. Actually, there's very, very steep mountains, very tall mountains surrounding Monterrey, which is a valley, lies in a valley. And we went up one of the mountains. We didn't go up 7,000 feet, but it felt like it. I could certainly feel the difference. I was like, short of breath, lightheaded. I almost fainted. I mean, I'm not making this up. I lost my voice just from being there. And I think that it had to do with the elevation. Anyways, it was a great experience because we heard from some of our leaders. An A13 and an A12 did just a phenomenal job with the training. We also had a great personal development. We like to do personal development at these events, and for that we brought in an outside company, someone we've worked with for a while, and we focus on the A8s, right? And the other people that we had there, we had a lot of leaders, and really getting this core group of people to get their business to the next level. And getting your business to the next level has a lot to do with mindset, right? It is going through it's not reinventing the wheel. You don't change what you do, right? And David, we talk about this a lot. You follow your daily plan of action. You master the success guide, right? I don't like to say you read it or know it. You really master it. You understand the principles of duplication. You make sure you don't do anything that's not duplicatable. You focus on the invite, presenting, following up, overcoming challenges, wash, rinse, and repeat, right? That's the duplication method. And all of that is taught in the success guide. But then there's this other part of, there's the tips that go with it. And I like to say that when we talk about ACTIVZ and we talk about training, and if you want to grow your business, you got to think of there's three different sections, really, the types of training. There's the non-tangible, sort of the motivation, the inspiration, there's your why. And that's really, really important, but it's not everything. Then there's the what. What do you talk about? How, what's the presentation? What's the product? What's the science behind it? What's the story of the company? What's your own story? That's the what. And then there's the how. There's the how to. Okay, how do I take my why and the what and build a business with it? And that's how do you do it, right? Well, how do you contact? How do I talk to someone? Do I follow a script? Do I share a video? How do I share it, right? And that the how is really the focus for the ACTIVZ Academy, right? It's how do you take the what and the why and turn those into a business? And so where I'm going with all of this is when you look at those three aspects of training and you say, okay, we have the what, right? The virtual office and the app is full of what, right? It's full of videos. It's full of training material. We've got opportunity present. We've got a lot of what there, right? Most of you in ACTIVZ are aware of what I'm talking about. The how also exists, right? We have distributors explaining what they did to hit the rank of A12. We have distributors explaining what they did and how they did it to reach the rank of A16, right? But still there's for many people, there's something in the way of their success. And a lot of that, and I really think it has to do with belief, right? It's someone that, people have varying degrees of belief. You believe a little bit that you might make it. Some people believe a little bit more. and they're committed to really putting themselves out there. Some people believe all the way, right? It's kind of like, what if you knew that you were going to, that it was guaranteed, you had a crystal ball, it's guaranteed you're going to hit A16 within 36 months. How would that affect what you did today, right? How would it affect? Well, you'd probably go out there fearless. You wouldn't have a worry a care in the world. You'd go about your day and say, well, you know, I'm going to hit A16, so I might as well just do the work, right? It's going to happen, and you would do it. You wouldn't be afraid of rejection. You wouldn't be afraid of judgment or what people said or didn't say, right? You would just do the work knowing that you're going to hit that. And so that's kind of on the spectrum of belief, right? That would be call it a sure knowledge that you're going to do it. Most people are over here. They're sticking their toe in the water. They're hoping they can do this. Some people, right, are even farther to the left side of the spectrum and just, you know, they don't think it's going to happen. So what we did, David, and I know that you and I have talked a lot about this. We showed the videos to the staff, but we did an exercise where we kind of helped people believe in things that are very hard to believe in. And I'm going to share my screen real fast, if I can. Let's see if I can pull this off. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my sound, and oh, that's not what I want to do. Those are my emails. You guys can all get a good look at my emails. Here we go. Okay. Technology. Here we go. All right. So if we start with this video right here, let's get some sound. What we did is we marched everybody up a hill. It was hard, like I said. It was probably 4,000 or 5,000.
So Danny,
we got a nice mix on it.
Vámonos.
And we hiked up this hill. It was about a mile long, about a half a mile.
Avancen, avancen.
And we took them to these pre-built walls.
Eso, ahí vamos.
30, where we then tasked them with getting over the wall, figuring out how to do it, and getting every single person
Vamos,
that was there
Oscar.
over the wall. The reason I'm sharing this video is
Fácil o
because
difícil.
when we got there, everybody was very, very tired, or
Vamos.
huffing and puffing. So let's go to the next picture. That one.
Tú reemplázame acá. Vamos.
Put that up. You got people pushing beneath from below. You got people pulling from above. We didn't have a plan. We just did.
Todas las palancas, súbanlas que yo aquí hago la segunda catapulta.
There's no guide. So here's the example.
Falta un hombre allá arriba.
We did that 150 times. So let me stop sharing my video for a second. Were you able to hear the audio on that?
Yeah, it drowned you out a little bit. But we can hear
Drowned me out a little bit. Okay. Well, why did I share that? Because I've had, like I said, David, a couple of things. I feel like I've learned. Hindsight's always 20/20. And at the moment, I felt like, okay, well, I got it, right? It taught people how to work as a team, taught people how to, you know, believe in the unknown, in what you don't see, because most of the people, and again, we had an 83-year-old man. We had many people in their 70s. We had people that were not in great shape, and all 150 people made it over. And this was a 15-foot wall. It was straight up. And there was no plan. No one said, okay, guys, here's how you have to do it. Well, you had to kind of step into the void, step into the darkness, just believing that if you take that first step, you're going to figure it out. And that's what happened. But I want to share one more picture, a couple pictures with everybody here. This picture right here. So if you look at the picture, well, what I want you to notice is there's people pushing from beneath, there's people pulling from above. Here's maybe a better picture. This is a really key takeaway for me that I wanted to share today on the Founders Call. The people above and the people below, they're all focused on the same thing. Their eyes are all on the individual who's summiting, who's going up. They're not distracted. They're not looking to the side. They're not seeing what other people are doing. They're not seeing what other projects are going on out there. They're actually just focused on helping that person get over the wall. Another observation that I made just even last week is that this guy's name is Pedro. Underneath him are different people from different groups. There's not one person above him or beneath him that is on Pedro's team. And I think I shared this on a US Update call not too long ago, but it's really important, right? No one, it doesn't matter who that person is, and learning to work as a team is just fundamental to your success. Sometimes we fall victim to saying, well, that person's not in my upline, so I'm not going to talk to them or call them. That person's not in my downline, so I'm not going to support them. I'm not going to show them what I did. I'm not going to help them out. That person's cross-line to me, so I'm not going to do a validation call with them or a three-way call with them. Guys, we have to learn from this exercise. The exercise forced people to get out of their comfort zone, forced people to just do whatever it took to get over there. And everybody rallied, and no one ever said, well, wait, Pedro's not on my team. How can I help pull him over this wall? He's not on my team. How can I help push him up? Now, obviously, that sounds ridiculous hearing me say that, but it really is analogous to what we do at ACTIVZ, right? And here's the miracle. And I say miracle because before we did this, it seemed impossible to get 150 of these people up over these walls, especially after hiking them up a mountain for half a mile. And we were really huffing and puffing due to the elevation, but everybody got over it because everybody pitched in, everyone did their part, and no one, there were no boundaries. No one said this person is on my team, and everybody's eyes were focused on that person. Look at the eyes. I guess you can only see a couple eyes in this. If I could zoom out of this picture, you'd see every eye was on the person who's on the wall. So really, that was something that I learned, David. And with that is a challenge. This month of April, I would encourage everybody in ACTIVZ to focus your not your literal eyes, but your figurative eyes, if you're an ACTIVZ, on the people in your group who have a goal to grow, right? And really stay focused on them. Stay focused and encourage the whole team. Even agree in advance, okay, who's going to summit this month? Who's going to rank advance? Or who's going to requalify? We're going to help these 5 people requalify, these 10 people requalify, these 20 people requalify or qualify as a new rank. And if you had that kind of focus, imagine what you could accomplish. I guess finally, David, my last sort of nugget of learning that I took away was impossible to do it on your own. There's no way someone can get to the top of ACTIVZ, or any company for that matter, just trying to slug it out yourself, saying I'm going to go it myself, right? I'm going to just punch my own weight and I'm going to get there to the top. No one can do that, right? We are 100%, we're really dependent on each other. We have to rely on other people lending us a hand, saying, hey, I can be available to you from 6 to 9 tonight to do three-way calls or validation calls, or what can I do to help to help you requalify? Do you want to do calls together? Do you want me to, can I help train some of your people? Can I help do a presentation for some of your people? You have my commitment, these hours of these days. That's the type of lending a hand that is required when we're summiting, right? When we're rank advancing. So guys, just think about that. I don't want to go too far here, but that definitely was a highlight of my March, and I really still have that with me, and I'm trying to hold on to that feeling as we get ready to go on a Costa Rica incentive trip here very soon in the next week, David. Which is again another symbol. It's another symbol of summiting. It's another symbol of success. Small taste of what awaits people down the road. So, guys, I want to share that with you. I hope you can use that information. David, What stands out to you most? What are you looking forward to?
Well, that was remarkable stuff. I've seen those pictures, and it was really inspirational. And those are fun events. And I want to let everybody know that we're going to have an English speaking event in July. Can't promise that we're going to go to hike to a mountain. Maybe we will. There's plenty of mountains around here. Is going to be on this. We think it's going to be on the 16th, Saturday, 15th or 16th. Save those dates. We'll give you a little bit more information. There's going to be a U.S. Spanish and a U.S. English event that weekend. So we're looking forward to that. And so that's exciting. You mentioned Costa Rica. That represents a lot of hard work, people setting goals, working together, and then they get the payoff that comes next week in Costa Rica when we're all together. I actually think that the challenge to increase people's business to get momentum, like you talked about, Ryan, was also very significant. Because yes, some people say, well, it's easy to have 100% increase if you're starting at 1 and you just double it to 2. And we had a couple of people that had, that had fairly small organizations and grew them in a big way. But most of the names that you read are people that are some of our top leaders. And they had momentum in their organization before. And like everyone else, they realized, they may have plateaued a little bit. And instead of just stopping, they really demonstrated that leadership has very little to do with whatever rank you have. Leadership is demonstrated by showing and doing things necessary to grow. And that's what they did. They didn't say, oh, well, I'm already in A12, I'm already in A11, I'm already in A10, whatever it is. And I'm fine with that. No, they said, I'm going to do this. And so that's really impressive to me that our top leaders really did demonstrate leadership. A sad event occurred for me during a month of March. On the very last day of March, my mother passed away. And it was an unexpected passing in the sense that she had been in pretty good health. Not so unexpected in the sense that she was almost 88 and had a good life. But one thing when I was a kid growing up, whenever we asked our mother what she would like for her birthday, for Mother's Day, for Christmas, she almost always responded with the same answer that you might expect of a mother of 7 children, all of whom weren't always the best kids, especially myself growing up. And her answer used to kind of annoy me, to be perfectly honest. And I would tell her this later on. Her answer almost always was, I just want children who are obedient and will get along. And as the sometime disobedient son who didn't always get along, I used to think, that's way too hard. How about a nice scarf instead? And something like that. But, I used to think that was just, a way to help, make her life as a mom easier. And we all know as parents, if our kids are obedient and get along with each other, yeah, that does make your life a little bit easier. But I actually think as I've gotten older, it's actually deeper than that. And you actually touched on it. Success in any walk of life, whether it's getting along as a family, achieving the goals you want, it's dependent upon obeying the laws associated with that success. And in this case, we're talking about the success guide. We're talking about the people that succeed in our business. They follow a plan. They follow certain actions, and they are absolutely obedient to the rules of success, the laws of success that success is predicated upon. There's no shortcuts. There's no magic words. There's no magic things. You just simply have to pay the price and obey the law upon which that success is based. Yeah. The second part of that of getting along is what you mentioned. Getting along means sharing. It means helping. It means looking for things to do to make yourself, really part of someone else's life and allow them, frankly, to be part of your life and to get along and to help lift each other up. There's a Quaker, John Greenleaf Whittier, once said, "You lift me, I'll lift thee, and we'll both ascend together." And that's really what it's all about. We're lifting together. Literally, in your case, you guys are lifting each other up, but figuratively every single day that we're looking for a way to lift ourselves up to a higher plane. And that was, that really just comes through a diligent plan and wanting to share. And my mother's last days were eased a lot by, for example, Optimin. She suffered from arthritis that was very painful for her, that made it so that she couldn't do a lot of the things that she really wanted to do. She was very active. But she did say to me, and it was actually very gratifying. She said, your products really are helping my hands feel better. and helping my feet feel better. And I don't know that it extended her life or anything like that, but if our efforts, whether it be sharing the products, whether it be sharing the business opportunity, or frankly, simply just sharing of ourselves, helps make someone else's life a little bit better. That's why we created ACTIVZ, Ryan. You know this. We said we want to create something that really makes a difference in people's lives, and it's fun to see how that's happening globally, whether that's in Mexico, Bolivia, here in the U.S., wherever. The other thing that we didn't really comment on, there's been a nice flurry of activity with people joining in Taiwan that was actually crazy to see, and not crazy, but it was crazy good to see. And isn't it interesting to see that effect of what this small butterfly effect? The wings of the butterfly started flapping about 4.5 years ago when we created, and it's creating this tsunami of activity, this great wave of activity really throughout much of the world, and is only going to increase. And everyone on this call is part of that. And that's what's exciting to me. And I'm looking forward to more of the same as we look forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely, David. I couldn't agree more. And it is exciting to see just pockets of growth and energy and excitement just popping up all over the place. And I'm glad you pointed out Taiwan, because I think that we were a little bit surprised to see that. And, we've had some really impressive numbers, impressive enrollments. So, keep it up if you're watching this from Taiwan. But really that's true for the United States. It's true for Bolivia, like you said, Colombia, all over the world. Mexico, certainly our biggest market. Every day there's someone new that's joining us, that's believing enough to put their toe in the water, right? That's using the products because they believe they're going to really help them. They trust the science. I guess you don't have to believe the science, you just have to trust, right, that it's going to help you. And we've got, hundreds of thousands of testimonials that provide, I think, evidence, that they certainly do their job. But as far as the business opportunity, a lot of people just, we live in a very unpredictable world. Sometimes it's scary, but the best way to face fear, to face those challenges, to face that proverbial wall, right, that you can't get over, is to find ways to take control of your own life, take responsibility, right? Trust that you're in the right place, the right time, with people that are going to help you, and build a wall of, an economic wall of protection around you. We often refer to it as that, and just build your business, because gas prices are terrible. And I'm not a fear monger, and I don't want to engage in that, but it's pretty terrifying when we sit there. If you watch the news, just tell me how you feel after an hour of watching the news. You feel afraid? That's kind of the intent of these news outlets, I think, is to scare us. But here's what we have at ACTIVZ. We have the solution, right? And everyone should remember that you have a great solution. You have an answer to prayers. You have something that people are looking for, right? You have a way for people to really take some control back, whether it's with their health, or if it's with their financial health, their economic health. And so that's really what is very gratifying. And I think what comforts us here at ACTIVZ is to know that is what we're about. That is what we're doing, right? We're here to solve problems. We're here to provide solutions to problems and answers to what people are looking for. And so make sure that you think about that, and that's ever present on your mind as you share ACTIVZ with other people. Just know that they're looking for this. There's a lot of people out there saying, boy, I need to not be dependent on the government, or to not be dependent on my traditional job, or dependent on and hopeful that my 401k eventually materializes, right? Well, what you have in your hands here at ACTIVZ is really a great solution for that. So, we could talk all day long. I'm sure, David, I'm speaking for myself, but I know that you and I, we could go on, and this is just exciting, and we're excited to be here with all of you. I've said this before, I'll say it again. We really are, and you really are in the right place at the right time. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So let's have a historic April. Let's go get it. We've got make sure that you're saving the date, the 15th and the 16th of July. We want to see you in person. That's going to be very exciting in Utah at our next big U.S. event. And that's all I got today. Let's go have a wonderful remainder of this month of April. David, do you have any final words?
Final words. Had a great visit by Grant Hilliam, one of our up-and-coming U.S.-based leaders yesterday. Wanted to come by the office. He brought his sister-in-law, who had just recently joined the company, and her boyfriend, his sister-in-law Emily, and boyfriend Keaton, who are kicking the tires. And Keaton said, after listening, I really want to do this. Then he asked something that lots of people ask, and if they don't ask, they probably think it. He said, what's the best way to get started? And I said, in one of my more profound moments, just get started. Just go, follow the success guide and just get started. And I think that's what we're talking about, Ryan. Let's just get started. And if you haven't been going to the degree that you want, now's the perfect time to do it. So we look forward to seeing you all in person, hearing from you. We appreciate all that you do. Have a great April. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, David. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next month. Bye.